Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do the job of Soak Tank for the Mythic Lady Ashvane fight. Now, some things I should get out of the way here at the beginning is, this is taking place, as many guilds are starting to get her down finally. A lot of guilds were stuck on her like mine. So this is still a 3-phase thing. Some guilds are doing it in 2 phases, so things are going to be slightly different as people get more gear. Everyone's going to do it in 2 phase eventually. So this is specifically for 3-phase. This is specifically for prot paladins who can basically do all the soaks for the most part. And you can use this, however, if you're a different class, just for general ideas, just to kind of know when the bubbles or the waves are coming out, the rippling waves. And we'll just kind of go through the fight here. So here you see me doing the very first set here. So what you need to know first is these big bubbles, that first one, you have to kind of run in and out of it. You can't just kind of keep hopping in it. That's probably just so it doesn't just one-shot somebody who kind of gets stuck in the way of it. It's a little bit annoying. We had a monk giving me Tiger's Lust whenever it was available. Like, not whenever it was available, but whenever he could. So that was the speed that I had there. So the first wave, you're always going to soak, and here comes the second wave. As a prot paladin, I actually have a raid cooldown that I can use and shield people with. And I usually waited until the big bubble was about to hit when I would use that. So this is the second wave. You see the big bubble hitting. Some people are in it, some people aren't. It was a little awkward, them pulling the boss back into the coral while I had my little shield thing up there. So now you're going to get into a phase where they're just doing coral. So at this point, I'm just helping keeping myself alive while they do the coral. I'll soak something if I need to. You should be doing as much damage as you can. I was not the best at that, honestly. Some pulls were better than others. Some pulls I felt like I was going to die more. As a prot paladin, I'd also try to make sure I had a shield up, Avenger shield up, and consecrate on the Barney bubbles to help the DPS of those. So that's something you can do as any tank, of course. DPS down the Barney bubbles. That'll help your raid DPS as well. So we have a little bit of a lull here where you don't have to do much other than just do damage. This is the best part of it. So we haven't used any cooldowns yet for the first wave, and for this ticking damage you're taking now, not using any cooldowns. And as a prot paladin, you'll use your first cooldown here. Of course, you can use your cooldowns whenever you like, depending on what class you are and how many cooldowns you have. But this is just, for this particular strategy, the best time to use the cooldowns for a prot paladin. So here comes the next wave. I'm going to be running. Again, I don't really have to use anything here, but I'd use my spell warding, which is a prot paladin talent that doesn't allow you to take magic damage. So I used that right before I got to the big bubble, just because it's going to be 3 soaks in a row. The only other thing you might want to watch for is make sure that the raid health isn't too awfully low, because you don't want to kill people in the raid. But during the time those come out, it's not usually an issue. So here we go. I'm going to pop my Guardian cooldown, so that's just a normal tank cooldown, 50% less damage. And then I also have a speed potion, a Lightfoot potion there. So I almost died there. Luckily I didn't. Now what can kind of be important here is to try to die in the middle of the room. So that way, regardless of where the boss is, you can get rezzed near the boss. So now we're going to be dead for a little while now as they try to push out of this shield phase here. So we'll be dead for a little while and before we get a res. One thing I'm going to point out too is, if you look at our raid composition, we actually don't have a druid. So when I get rezzed, I'm getting rezzed by a warlock, and I'm getting rezzed with very low health. So there's an issue. If you look at the beginning of the video before this point, or when I get rezzed, you'll see a ticking timer in the top middle. That is the damage of when the damage from the debuff is going to tick on you. This does not show up when you are dead. If there is an add-on that can help that, or a weak aura that's better than the one I had, that could show it when you were dead, that's great. If not, with the warlocks, it was just every one out of every 4 pulls, I would just die instantly when I rezzed, just from taking the tick damage that was more than the health I was rezzed with. So you want to be rezzed as close to, you want to be rezzed at full health if possible. You want a nice druid res if possible. So the other thing is you want your res to be close to the boss, so they need to move into the boss, so that way you're not you're not having to charge at the boss and then away from the boss to do the next soaks. As a prot paladin, the reason why we're so good for this is, as you see my spell warding cooldown, or maybe you see it, the spell warding cooldown towards the bottom is almost back up again, and I still have my regular bubble, so I can do a double immunity. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to get rezzed here really soon. There's the accept. I'm going to wait for the rippling wave to pop out of the corals, which will be shortly. There it is. I'm going to accept, and I'm going to immediately bubble. And then I'm going to use my Divine Steed. And then I'm going to go ahead and get that one. And I'm just going to sit here and die. Throw a little bit of damage at the boss. And then I'm going to get res again and use spell warding once again, like I used on the second wave. So there's the res. I'm going to wait for the wave to come out. And again, with bad luck, I could just die here immediately on taking this res. So it was a little bit stressful in that regard. So we'll go ahead and grab this. This time I'm going to use a Lightfoot potion. Kind of have to have an idea of where all the bubbles are. I'm always ready to try to heal myself if I can. Throw a little bit of damage out there. And there we go. So that's it. So that's all the waves that you would be soaking as a prot paladin. That's with the maximum number of battle reses. This is me having the job of soaking everything up until this point. Now it's on the raid. It's on the other tanks. At this point, it's on everybody else. But I was able to do all the soaks before that. So that's basically how you do it. You want to use your cooldowns effectively. Obviously, use a smaller, weaker cooldowns early on. You want your strongest cooldowns up for sure towards the end. Whether you're doing, if you're not a prot paladin, you probably can't do this exact method because you don't have the immunities. Unless a prot paladin is putting the spell warding on you. In which case, I don't know why they wouldn't just be doing it. But yeah, if you have any questions, this is kind of a little bit of a niche video because it's not going to be affecting too many people. But I just wanted to put this out here because it was something that I had to do. And, you know, I couldn't find really many good videos on it. So good luck to you if you are the soak tank, you know. And hopefully you get down Mythic Lady Ashvane soon. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody have a good one.